So yes, nursing school is challenging, and yes, this is not the first time I'm saying that, but something good is that you're going to survive nursing school. Like one day you'll sit down and just laugh at all the things you went through. So nursing school is challenging, but you're going to survive it as long as you have the coping mechanism of surviving stress and managing stress. So you're going to experience stress when it comes to classwork, because we have really intense classwork. We have really heavy workloads when it comes to clinicals and assignments and all those kind of things, and there's little time to have fun. Like at times we used to sit down and just envy those students who are in the university. You just look at them and say, where did she get that time to do all those that she's doing? Like for me, like I feel like I don't have time for anything. Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lesodor, so make sure you subscribe so that you remain part of the family, and click on the notification bell so that you don't miss any other video. So let's just get into the video. So today we are going to talk about how to manage stress in nursing school, because there's a study that was carried out, and according to that study, it stated that 99% of nursing students have reported their level of stress to be between moderate to high. That means that almost everyone is experiencing stress in nursing school. But the only way you can come out of this, safe, if you have really good coping mechanism, like if you have really good stress management skills that can just help you to avoid like getting so much stress. You get me? So before I start explaining to you some of these stress management tips, I'll first tell you the kind of stresses that we experience, so that whenever I'm explaining a certain tip, you can be able to understand from where I'm coming from. So most of the time, I think we've experienced stress when it comes to clinicals. So one of the things that we experience stress from is fear of unknown. Like there's so much fear, because let's say you are in the clinicals and you are like, for us in KMTC, when you care for the patients, like the nursing students looks like the nurse. You do everything that the nurse is doing. So at times when you care even for these patients, at times you fear for what you're going to hear the next day, because most of the time you used to come and I don't know, you hear that the patient died and such kind of things. So such kind of fear usually brings a lot of stress. And another thing is that at times you don't even usually know what's next. Like for us, we usually go for attachments, and at times, I remember this time, you're going for attachment to Naivasha. The bus is leaving almost like midday. You have to reach in Naivasha at 6 p.m. You don't know where you're going to stay. You don't know even like where you are so confused, because you don't like the fear that you don't know. Like every time you don't know, you're just doing things and you don't know. So that fear of unknown, because at times you don't even know, like you're in Naivasha, it's a new place. You don't even know like if you're going to find a place to sleep that day. You get me? So that fear, that continuous fear each and every time brings a lot of stress. Another thing is working with equipments. You find that in nursing, when you go for clinicals, there are so many new equipments that you're going to work with. Like, I think the problem that is usually there with Kenyan nurses is that they like assuming that we know these things. But they assume, and yet they went through the same kind of education system, and they know very well that back in college we usually don't do a lot of the skills. Like we don't do the skills lab and such kind of things. Like, yes, nowadays they try, but for us personally, let me not lie to you that we never did a lot of practicals back in college. So when I come to the hospital, I'm seeing these things for the first time in my life, and then this nurse just comes and gives you an NG tube and tells you, I want you to go and insert that NG tube, and you're like, damn, I've never seen someone inserting an NG tube. How do you expect me to do that? And they're there thinking like, you're so rude. I don't know what I usually tell guys, you're dealing with people's lives. Let's not that, like, most of these nurses, they just have their own kind of stresses from home, and they just try and bring it out to the students. Let him or her not convince you to do something that you know very well you're not sure of, because you're dealing with people's life. If something goes bad, you'll also be accountable somehow. So if you're not sure about these equipments, either ask or just let him do it so that you can see, so that next time you can be able to do it. But don't do it unsupervised. Don't just do it because you fear, because you don't want that nurse to say, I don't know where unaringa manini. Let them say unaringa, but don't do things that you don't know. Don't use equipments that you don't know how to use. Another thing is fear of making mistakes. So you find people usually say in nursing or in medicine, there's no making mistakes because you're dealing with people's lives. So that fear of not making mistake, because you can just a simple mistake can cost someone's life. Just a simple mistake as increasing the dose for that child can cost that child his life. You get me? So that fear of making mistake, that every time you have to be alert, brings a lot of stress. Another thing is poor communication. And poor communication is not only in terms of the staff, even when it comes to your friends and families, and even your boyfriends. Some people are even married. So at times you find that there's a very minimum communication with those people you left at home. And at times you find that due to the busy schedule in nursing school, whenever you're dating, or else say even those friends or families you left at home, some people usually feel like you're ignoring them. But at times you're just so stressed. You're from clinical, you're back at home at 7, you eat supper, and you just find yourself in bed, you've just slept. The next day again at 7, you're awake. So at times you even forgot like going for other people's functions and parties and such kind of things, and it really leads to poor communication. And this brings stress because some people won't understand. People won't understand like, why is she doing that? So it brings a lot of stress, and also poor communication from the school staff, because I think the only stress that I've been having from college is poor communication from the staff. Like they're saying, let me give you an example. They're saying you're supposed to be going to Marsabit next week. It's supposed to be going there next week, and it's almost 3 days too. They're not communicating like which day are you going. They're not communicating if it has been postponed, so you're there stuck. So you don't know if you should call your parent and say that just pay the rent for today, maybe we are not sure if we'll go. Landlord anakusumbua, parent anakuuliza what's the next step. The lecturers are not talking, you're just there, you're so stressed. Poor communication, like those are the kind of things. So now let's get to the stress management mechanisms. So number 1 is understand yourself. So I think understanding myself is one of the things that have really gotten me through nursing school, because we are all different. Let me not lie to you. Everyone is different and everyone gets things differently. So you'll find that there are these students who are good with group discussions. There are these students who are good when they just sit down and study for themselves. There are these students who can't sit like in the house, like in a table and a chair, and just sit like this and study. You get me? So just understand yourself, because you'll experience stress if you are trying to study the way I'm studying and it is not like you're not getting it. Like let's say I'm this kind of a student who just wants to sit down with my book and I just study like non-stop. I'm just there for even 3 hours. So for you think that is the best way to study, and that is the reason as to why she's performing. So now you're trying to copy that and you're trying to do the way I'm doing it. Too bad for you, because you're not going to grasp anything, because that is not your way of studying, and you're really going to have a really hard time. So that is the example I was going to give. So the thing that I'm saying is understand yourself. Understand like how you do things. You get me? Even when it comes to clinicals, let's say that these students like for the example that I gave you about Quaker ANG tube, when she's told that you go and put it, she'll just go and put it. And at times it may come out well, or at times maybe it may not come out well. But for you are so anxious. Like for me personally, I'm usually so anxious. If I don't know anything, like I'll be shaking, and like I won't do it the way I really get a heart. If I don't know, I don't know. So if for me, what I realize, if that is the way I am, what I usually do, when you want to tell me, I just tell you, me, I don't know. If I don't know what you like, I don't know. And I just sit there. So just understand what kind of a student you are. Then the second thing is to have a study plan, because you find that one thing that brings stress in nursing school is studying. Like the schedule is so tight, so have a study plan. So you should have something that makes studying easier. So you realize that you're going to study a lot of stuff, and by the end of it you're going to do an exam. So one thing that I used to do is to recap. Like let's say today you've been taught med-surg and you've been taught the circulatory system. So when you go back home, try and recap, try and reread what you have been taught, so that you memorize it, so that it sticks, so that when the exams come, or like 1 week to exam, you don't have to read everything. Like when you just see like this, this is something that I've been reading. You get me? Like you recap your things each and every day. You make it like a schedule, like you study each and every day, so that when it comes 1 week to the exam, you don't experience stress. Another thing is about study groups. When you have study groups, it is not only for you to for you to understand and study. Another thing about study groups is you have friends, people you can talk to. At times when you sit in these study groups, you'll hear someone saying, hey, by the way, that thing wasn't taught so well. Like you'll find people who are thinking the same as you, so that you just don't sit at home stressed and thinking, okay, life is so hard, okay. So when you meet and you find that there are other people who are experiencing the same thing as you start laughing and you feel like I have people to lean on. You get me? Like you have people to lean on, people you can laugh with, and you can just, when you laugh about these things that you're experiencing, the stress goes down. You get me? Another thing is to have a routine. You can't just, like, today you want to study, then tomorrow again you want to sleep and watch. Like, just get a routine that you can be following, so that when nursing school requires you to be organized. Like, you need to be organized. Like, if it is time for you to do your assignment, it's time for you to do your assignment, and you're not postponing. When you keep on postponing, I'll do next time. You're supposed to be doing research. I'll do it next week. You'll postpone, and by the time next week comes, you'll really have a lot of work to do. You won't have time to relax. You won't have time to eat, because you have a lot of work to do. So just make sure you have a routine. You just set your own routine. That for me, when it comes to Friday evening, it's time for me to go and enjoy myself with friends. When it's Thursday evening, it's time for me to do all the assignments that I had for the week. Like, you just have your, like, a routine. When you have your routine, you'll always know that on Friday it's time for me to have fun. But when you keep on postponing, you pile up work and you don't even understand, like, how you're going to. So organize yourself and have yourself a routine. Another thing is to take a break. I used to see my classmates, like, they are really struggling. People don't want to take a break. People want to push so hard, and you're going to see this a lot when you get to nursing school. People are trying to push so hard. I usually look at them and like, damn, do you guys even like do normal things that normal people do? You just can't be, tunaitwa na mwalimu, wamesema assignment ni gani, gani, nataka book, I'm going to the library, I'm going to take a break. Like, actually say you should have a life that without even this nursing, you have a life. The nursing is not your everything. That at times you can even have 1 week, you can just sit and don't think about nursing. Like, let it not take your whole body, let it not take your whole life, that you don't have time for any other thing. So make sure you usually take a break. You do other things, like do self-care, do a soothing bath. Make sure you can even go to the salon, make your hair. You can even go and like do things that can make you feel like you have relaxed and you're having fun. Like, you can even find a hobby, something that you do every day, even if it's just listening to music, going for swimming, and even doing other things like yoga, meditations. Just make sure you take a break. You should take a break between intervals, because the moment you take a break, you are re-energized to start again. So the moment you keep on stressing, week in, week, January to January, you're stressing, you're not getting anything. You're just like, you're finishing yourself. You're going to develop diseases. So make sure you also take a break. Another thing is, don't forget to connect with your loved ones, because most of the time, the only way you can feel like, yes, I'm really doing this and I'm gonna make it and I have to relax, is when you talk to people. Like, call your friends, call your family members, is it your husband, whoever. Just make sure you connect with people, so that at times you can tell them what's going on and they can motivate you to keep on going. But the moment you're just seated alone, you don't want to talk to anyone, the stress builds up and builds up. So make sure you connect with people and let them cheer you up, and just make sure you also try and catch up with daily lives. It doesn't mean that when you go to nursing school, it's like you are dead for 4 years. We'll see you again rising up like Jesus after 4 years. Just don't be there. Connect. Like, if it is a birthday party and it's Saturday and you're not doing anything, just don't sit down and start and reading so hard. Make sure you can connect and attend some things. Like, we are not dying for this thing. So make sure you connect, you call home, and if you're feeling like you're having trouble, even ask for help, call home, and even go to your lecturers, ask for help from your fellow peers. Make sure you connect with loved ones, so that you can feel like the energy coming back. You get me? So those are the stress management skills I use. I know there's so many and there's some that I've forgotten, but as time goes by, I'll be talking to you guys about these. But just make sure that if it is for nursing school, make sure you relax. Make sure you relax, take your time to study well. And it doesn't mean that because you have to relax or take a break now, you just want to have fun. Like, just remember, like, it is not the same as in university. Like, it is different. Like, yes, you're going to have fun, you're going to do what, but it is a little bit different. You're going to have to put a little more effort. So guys, I hope I really helped someone with this video, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't, because I realize so many people are watching the video and I haven't subscribed. So make sure you subscribe, and make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye bye.